Okay, there we go. Round two.
Round two. Easy.
Manoli, we're here today because you are causing some ripples in the Nelson business community. I'd really love you to share about a little bit from your banking background, how you moved to accountancy, and how you created the difference in what the service you provide.
Yeah, no problems. So I was banking for about 15 years. I was at ASB and Westpac. I did commercial banking and also private banking. And during that time, I worked with a lot of clients that had accountants. And it was really interesting to me because I would say, hey, have you engaged with your accountant on this transaction? And a lot of times they'll go, well, no, I'm not due to see my accountant for another year or so, or I don't really want to ring them because they're going to charge me. And there was all this little bit of disconnect there. So I think it's about 8 years ago now, I put my money where my mouth is and left the banking world, which was very secure and paid extremely well, to jump into this accounting advisory space. And I joined a mid-sized accounting firm. It was fantastic. I got to work with clients that were already accounting clients of that firm, and I worked with them in a different way. And it was a lot around business coaching and business planning, organizational reviews, all that sort of stuff. And it was really interesting time because what would happen is I'd run an event, and I do quite a few events, and we would get a lot of these old accounting clients coming along to this event. And some of the old partners there would say, I don't know why they're coming. They know that I can give you this advice. It was 7 ways to grow your business event. And remarkably, after the event, about a third of the people that turned up, so I think we had 50 people turn up there, ticked that they wanted to do some business planning and coaching. And it just blew my mind that there's accountants out there that are got all this knowledge. They've got great knowledge. They've got great resource, got all the numbers. They've got access to so much stuff, and they're not doing the things that business owners really want. And we've got it on our wall that it's the big three, which is do a business plan, do a cash flow forecast, and do some coaching. And you're in the coaching side of things as well. And I'm a big advocate of that because we practice what we teach. So I've got a business coach as well. I've got a business plan, and I've got a cash flow forecast, and I do annual reviews, and I also do coaching sessions. So it's revolutionised, I think, where accounting's going in the future, and there's lots and lots of accounting firms into it now.
That's really wonderful, and I love that you've mentioned just really being the message, knowing that you've put those foundations in place first for you, and then being able to help business owners in such a profound way. It's not just giving them the tools and leaving them to it, but helping them realize their own greatness, which a lot of business owners, and I know that New Zealand's a largely SME market, that they really do need that support. And quite often the first person that they hire is the accountant, because it's the first real necessary outsourcing job. And if that's not a capable person, how detrimental it can be not detrimental, but it's a lot of time lost learning these things that you can advise on.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Like engaging professionals early on in the piece seems counterproductive, right? You've got to pay a bit of money, but they take you on a straighter line to where you want to go. And then, so I do a lot of sessions at the Chamber of Commerce around that. You do need to engage with people. You need to engage with a coach, someone to hold you to account. And a husband and wife, they can't hold each other to account. That should be a sort of loving, nurturing relationship. It shouldn't be, you haven't hit your 5 KPIs this week. It shouldn't be like that. So engaging with external people, that would be probably my biggest message to people starting out on business or if they're stuck in their business, is engage someone to come in and help facilitate, that breakthrough. And that's really, really powerful, I think.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that. So it's not exactly hot pillow talk, is it?
No.
And there's so many husband and wife teams out there, and they do support each other. But having the awareness that your wife isn't going to be able to tell you what you need to hear because it's going to affect the relationship in some way. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I always call it that as a coach, you've got to coach with backbone and heart, so you've got to show some empathy because stuff does happen and stops you from achieving some of your goals. But with the backbone side of things, it's like, well, come on, let's crack on now. That's past. Let's move forward. And also you don't get bogged down in the nitty gritty. If little Johnny hasn't turned up to work, It's like, I actually don't know that. All I know is strategically we want to be here, and how are we going to get there, and people really, really enjoy those sessions. I've been coaching people, a number of the businesses that I coach for the last sort of 7 years, they keep coming back and we keep, kicking goals.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that that's also because you're continually growing yourself. You're not a stagnant business. I know recently you've gone into partnership with Michael and taking those risks that you really do need to have in leadership. It's like my mentor calls it calling the wind, when you're looking at the market, really making those strategic decisions, and then being able to keep ahead of the market because you are so proactive about the decisions that you're making.
Yeah, definitely. And there's lots going on out there. It's quite interesting times, low unemployment, hard to find skilled workers. Every business owner that I talk to has got the same sort of headwind at the moment. And so thinking about things strategically is a really, really powerful thing. And like you say, we've done this merger with Crux Accounting. They've merged into Mallet McLean, which has been awesome. Great bunch of people doing very, very similar things. So it was like, we're doing similar things. Why don't we come together on it? And it's been hugely powerful, because sometimes it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = 5. And I think when you're looking at things like the merger we've done, I 100% believe that we're 1 + 1 = 5.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know as well in strategic business partnerships how important it is for you to know what your strengths are and to be able to delegate and create and evolve together. And so when you are looking at the market, finding informal mentors or formal mentors, or even putting a board together, people that can really help you grow in business is so necessary.
Yeah, 100%. And building that team. So we've got various different coaching programs, one-on-one. They're hugely powerful, obviously, but we also do coaching groups, and where we get sort of 6 to 8 business owners that are non-competing in the room, and we meet once a quarter, and so they share ideas and it's little things, just yesterday, one of the people in that group said, I'm looking to hire an admin person. Has anyone got a job description? And they've got 5 job descriptions from all of those businesses. So those are the shortcuts, right? They're just little things that if you're part of a coaching group or a one-on-one coaching, mentoring type situation, you're shortcutting things all the time, and I think it's super powerful.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really important learning for new business owners, is because we are so nuclear in our thinking in other parts of our lives, and maybe even in New Zealand as well, not being that open to asking for help. And the community mind is what creates the accurate reality, right? Because we are able to have that input, have that challenge. And when we only see life through our eyes, it's such a limited view. And so I can imagine that in your group coaching scenario, people sharing those ideas really helps broaden their perspectives.
Oh, definitely. And you did right there. What happens with business is often we fall into business because we're good at something. So it might be a builder or a plumber, coach or whatever it might be. You're quite good at something. And then all of a sudden you've got this business, you've got to do GST and PAYE and cash flow and loans and all that sort of stuff. And no one really teaches you how to run a business. And so building that team around you and having a network that you can tap into is awesome. And we call it, we try to help people run smarter, better businesses. That's sort of our vision is to have people to run those smarter, better businesses with our help. And it's a really powerful thing, is because I'm not a builder. My wife will say that I should never pick up a hammer, but I know enough around a whole lot of other industries that people often say to me, we think you are our product and service development area of our business, because I'm bringing in stuff from childcare centres into a real estate business. There was a couple of sessions I did last week or the week before, and where I was like, maybe we could borrow that from that industry and bring it into here. And it was around onboarding of a child into a childcare centre. And it's like, how is that process? How does that work? And the people that own that business were like, well, we do it pretty poorly. And I was like, someone's handing over their child to you, and you don't send them a text with a video saying little Johnny's having a great time. I was like, how powerful would that be? And how likely would people then refer to you? And so but that was taking something away from a real estate business and bringing it into the childcare business. So yeah, people often say, oh, how did you bring that in? It's like, well, we're just lucky enough to see a lot of different businesses, I guess.
Yeah, cross-pollination. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I love how you continually use that statement, like building better businesses.
Yeah.
Because I know that your vision is so strong.
Yeah.
So share with me the importance of having that easy to use vocab that your team then buys into.
Yeah, no, it's really clear because we work really hard in all our business planning sessions we do. The first sort of 2 hours is, what is your core purpose? What is your vision? And what are your values? And if you can't articulate that, then no one can come along the ride with you. And so it's really, really important. We spend a lot of time on that because there's a TED talk called Simon Sinek's The Golden Circle, the why. I think it's the most watched TED talk in history. It encapsulates everything. People don't buy what you do or how you do it, they buy why you do it. And so having a really quick, articulate vision statement, let's run a smarter, better business, or our core purpose is to build enduring wealth through successful businesses, and have a whole set of values, which you can see in this room, everyone else can't, but having your set of values out there for the team, everyone knows where they fit and how they can contribute to the business achieving its vision.
Yeah, really, really well said. And I love that you've got it on your wall, you've got it on your t-shirt, those kind of, it creates a movement rather than it just being about a business that ticks the box. And,
100%. And we're big on that, keep things visual. When we do a business plan, we do a business plan for the owners, but we also do a sort of a cut down version, take out sensitive stuff, and we have one that they share with their whole team. And people go, why does my team need to know this? Like, they want to know, and if you think about big corporates that have good culture, there's always lots of communication, and people know where the vision is and where we're going and how they can contribute.
Absolutely. And one of the other things that I really love about the way that you do business as well is you're so engaging, and you really are trying to go the extra mile for your clients all the time. So I'm wondering how you built your own skills, your own personal effectiveness within the business situation.
It's a real simple one. I'm not that smart, so I make sure I've got really smart people behind me. And I think whether it's luck or not, I'm not an accountant. So I run an accounting firm, and I'm an owner, a part owner now in an accounting firm. And I think that's been really the catalyst of being something quite different. The other thing I would say is I've got dyslexia. And so with that, I struggle with, the written word and things like that. So I'm a real pictures guy, and I'm always drawing. You've been to some set. I'm always drawing on a whiteboard, or when there's a complex type situation, let's draw it up and put it into picture form. And I reckon that's the real difference in business, is having in my business team we've got right now, and our directors, we've got a real detail person. We've got Michael, who's a little bit more like me, but he's still an accountant, and Louise is an accountant, and then you've got me with this dyslexia. There's a wicked thing on YouTube actually around dyslexia and having people with dyslexia in teams. And so I'll go and have a look, try and find it. It was a documentary done by a year 13 student. So recently the Crusaders just won the Super 15, I think it's 15, Super Rugby, and Razor Robinson, or Scott Robinson, he's got dyslexia, and he talks about in his team as a coach, he's seeing things in a really just totally different way, but he's also got the people pulling him back or keeping him in check. And that's what I reckon going forward, this diversity of management and strategy, you need these people in your team. Whereas imagine having, and no disrespect to accountants, but imagine if you had like 4 accountants, really traditional, trying to run a business, like you're only going to get one outcome. Whereas having diversity and having that people thinking about things in a different way, it's so powerful again.
Absolutely. And the different types of thinking as well. I know I use a profiling tool that helps to understand whether they have outcome focused thinking, whether they're a systems person, whether they're just a dynamo like me, just a doer, or that real people person, and putting people in strategic positions to complement you is it's a talent really, because you have to have that awareness and also let your ego take a bit of a hit that you can't do everything. So you need to bring that person on board. So it's such a good point. Yeah. And share with me, what are some of the major challenges that you've had as a leader, and talk me through that.
Because I'm a bit like you, I'm like, let's just get on and do it and follow me sort of guy. That has challenges as your team grows. So I think we've got nearly 20 odd people in the team now. And so I've had to really change my style a bit of, it's not good enough just to say, follow me, I've got it all sorted. Now I have to do a lot of over communicating. So my role in the business here now is CEO, which I want to change to Chief Repetition Officer, not Chief Executive Officer, because you just got to really over communicate. And so I've found that leadership, picking your style, owning your style, but being able to also change as it goes. And I was talking to Michael actually earlier before you came in, and talking about coaching groups. And because we coach other accounting firms around New Zealand as well on how to run a smarter, better accounting firm. And my early style was I was quite probably a bit aggressive on, come on, you can achieve this, go on, get on with it. And everyone achieves things in different ways and at different paces. And I've had to learn that with people because I'm like, come on, let's just get on and do it. And I've also, the other thing I reckon is 80% is good enough. So, or near enough's good enough. A lot of times I'll be like, I'm not going to get that website up until it's 100% perfect. Just get it up, and then start evolving. I'm not going to, we're not going to offer these services until I 100% know how to run them. About 80%, crack on, So that would probably be my two big learnings, is being able to change your style, be aware of your style, and then also, 80% is good enough.
I heard a really great quote the other day that imperfect implementation beats perfect procrastination.
It does.
And I understand that business owners want certainty to be able to move forward.
Yeah.
And certainty is not what business ownership is.
No.
And it's actually building that relationship with ambiguity that's going to help you to be able to make those decisions that there's risk in them. There's you've got to be able to trust yourself that you'll be able to figure it out. And your team then feels that trust, and that momentum creates more productivity and all of those things. So I know that's a very important switch in a business owner's mind of not needing to have all the information, not needing to get it right, and not needing to know everything, because you just can't.
100%. No, 100%. I just met someone earlier this morning and I said, your website's not up. And they're like, oh, it's not quite right. Get it up. He sells furniture. I was like, how's anyone going to buy from you? So I totally agree with you.
And going into this, we're officially in a recession, I guess. What would be some advice that you'd have for business owners in terms of their leadership thinking? Because I know that we can go to fighting fires really easily when profit is always at the focus of our attention. What have you shared your words of wisdom for this time?
I did something. I went to a Xero partners evening thing the other day, and there was this awesome guy, I think his name's Simon Curran, from the All Blacks Performance Group. So the All Blacks have got, they're using that brand, the All Blacks Performance Group. It's basically around business coaching, mentoring, and all that, and they're branching out what they've learned on the sports field to business. And talks about mindset, and we always talk about mindset. And he said, mindset's two separate words, mind and set, not mindset as one word. And I was like, okay, what does that mean? He goes, we have ingrained in us what our parents have instilled in us, what our teachers have instilled in us, what we've learned over time, and that's put a set in our mind of how we react. And during these sort of times, we need to change our mind. We do need to have to recode our mind to a new set. And so that would be my biggest advice, is like, seek out really positive people, seek out podcasts or YouTube or whatever, of where people are doing great things, because during a recession, there's going to be some people that struggle for sure, but there's going to be heaps of people that aren't. And Cameron Bagri, an economist, was at the same presentation, and he goes, I think it's going to be amazingly fun over the next 2 years. And the way he put that was that previously it's been all economic conditions. We've been COVID, or before that it was everything was booming, so there's heaps of customers and all that sort of stuff. Now, so that you're just sort of riding a wave. He said, now you've got to paddle out and you've got to pick your wave, and and he said, that's fun. Like, what you do in your business now is awesome, because you're actually working on your business. It's not an economic wave pushing you behind. It's like, he said, it's going to be fun. You're going to try some things and you're going to fail, and you're going to try some things and they're going to work, and that's going to be fun over the next 2 years. And I was like, that's a great way to put it.
Absolutely, riding the wave.
That's
and I recognize that in that metaphor it says so much, because there are so many ups and downs, and quite often people can get stuck on the downs, thinking, oh, this is the end of the world mentality, and knowing that there's always going to be another way, and having that open approach, going back to the drawing board and recalibrating, what can we do about this, is such a important way to stay positive, but also continuing that momentum.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And look, it's technically a recession. There are, like I said, there are pockets of people that will be struggling and making some significant changes, but they'll look back in 5 years' time and go, well, they were good decisions. And like, there's really still unemployment's still very low. So people have got money. People are still spending. Yes, they might be spending more on their mortgage now than they were in the past, but it's not all doom and gloom, for sure. You can definitely look for pockets of positivity, for sure.
Absolutely. And I love as well that now is a time that people, like business owners who are going to set themselves apart from the rest, are going to do it because there is that extra drive, and being able to be flexible, being able to be adaptable within the market is such a quality, but it's also just a quality of general business. So now the ones that are focusing on the really solid vision and bringing their people forward is going to create that gap. And that's their unique point of difference. There's a way for them to be that breakout go-to company. Yeah,
no, 100% agree. We did a business plan with someone the other day, and I shared this at the latest chamber event. Put the business plan up on the wall with all the goals, and 2 people came up and looked at that in their own time and went up to the business owner and go, I didn't know you wanted to achieve that. I can help you. And I was like, man, that's just paid for itself and 10 times over, where you've got your team helping you achieve your goals. And so, I think it's going to be a fun time. I really do. I think, playing around with your business, tweaking it and improving it, it's just going to be so much fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, what a fantastic conversation. And I know that it's really important as well in this time for people to be educating themselves and investing in themselves. And I wonder, for you, when people are creating a budget, how much of a budget should they be having for their own learning and development?
Oh, definitely. I think they should have quite a big piece in there. For us, we have about 10 grand a year that we have with our coach. And that's just the engagement of the coaching side of things. And then he'll come and do some strategic planning with us and things like that as well. But it's really, really important that you have to actually diarise it. Otherwise it won't happen, So put it in your calendar to go and seek out something, then book it, then go to it, and professional development. It's just like I'm a bit of a sports freak, so I always align business with sport. It's like, you can't get better if you don't practice. You can't get better unless you go and play other people. So it's like all of these, same thing in business. You've got to get out of Nelson, or, get out of whatever town you're in, go and talk to other business owners, go along to Chamber of Commerce events, those sorts of things, and just keep growing, keep learning. And I always, like, it was funny, at the Xero thing the other day, I was like, they were talking about business planning and coaching. I was like, and you have a look around this room here, we don't mention it once in this whole room. We've got our values and our purpose up there. I'm like, that was a blinding flash of obvious, I call it. It's like, why haven't we got stickers up on the wall saying what we do, And so there's everywhere you go, it doesn't matter what event, you'll pick up that little blinding flash of obvious that you can take back and put in your business. So professional development is key. Yeah.
And I also just listened to this really interesting concept around success, and business owners are always like striving for success when they get there, and success is in the everyday, isn't it? So having that consistent, that canny, the constant and never-ending improvement that makes up your successful business. And I wonder, share with us, what are some of your daily success principles?
Well, every week I do a thing called the Friday Vibe, which is I send it out to the whole team of just a bit of like what I've been up to for the week, because I'm often in and out and doing different things, what I've noticed the team are been up to, some successes that I've heard about and stuff like that. So we're really big on like promoting success, and all of our team set 5 goals for the week, and it could be anything. It could be get to the gym. I don't really care what goals they are, but they report back every day on how they're tracking against their goals and what they've achieved, and any share stories, because there's an old adage, experience is gained just after you needed it. So it's like sharing with the team of something that's worked for them, something that hasn't worked for them. So we've got that on a daily basis within our business through teams, which is really, really cool. Big thing is when you're out there looking for these sorts of things, like I've said, do this Friday Vibe, I R&D'd that off someone else, which is rip off and duplicate. And that's what you do in business. There's no monopoly on how to do things. You go, oh, Manoli does it that way, I better do it a different way. So that Friday Vibe thing was a guy, Rob Fife from Air New Zealand. He did it in New Zealand. Every Friday, sent out an email to everyone. I'm like, that's a cool idea. I'm just going to steal it and use it. And it's great, So I'm a big fan of R&D. So if anyone hears me say R&D, it's rip off and duplicate. So it's like, just grab stuff that you think's cool, start implementing it.
Yeah, really well said. Oh, thank you for sharing your wisdom. And I know that it's really important for the Nelson business market, but also for New Zealand, that we merge together with people that have a real energy to change the way that business operates, to make sure that people are more focused on the development of the human and not just ticking the business box, because I know that it's a changing market and people really want to feel that sense of purpose and sense of meaning. And you've done such a great job here with your team to be able to create that connection that everyone desires, but we used to get it from churches and from our, being in our little communities, but now it's work and how important our work community is. Yeah,
it's massive, and everyone's craving that. They want to know. Everyone wants to know how they can contribute and how they can achieve some goals, and how do they be part of the team, and and be part of the success and things like that. So, over communicate is the key. I'm a big fan of sharing revenue targets, sharing goals and budgets and all that sort of stuff. Like, the more people know about your business and what you're trying to achieve, the more they can help.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks so much, Manoli.
Easy.
Too easy.